that featured multi-million-dollar properties. They talked about how crazy it would be to ever buy in their city. A city they both loved, but a city not without its problems, like cost, housing, hard-to-follow weekend transit updates, and a large, rich population that never took public transit and went on about how great and affordable the city was. Once Nate and Keru came out of that slump, they cooked easy meals with hamburger helper and drank copious amounts of gin. Whenever Manto brought them a toy, they tossed it for her or played tug until she tired herself out. They had sex at random times of day, in various positions, sometimes with Keru's travel vibrator, which she would wrap in a sock and bury deep in their suitcase once parents were present. There was no street noise in Chatham, no constant chaos of being surrounded by human congestion. The silence became a topic of conversation. Should a lack of sirens be in and of itself alarming? Was everyone dead or well? And how do residents vent personal frustrations if they can't lay on the horn or scream? Another topic was whose parents were more difficult. Each side made a strong case for their own, but this was pure anxiety talking, and the answer didn't really matter. The order of the visits was strategic. Keru's parents cared about cleanliness and personal safety to an obsessive-compulsive degree and, since the start of the pandemic, had yet to go outside without double masks, gloves, and mace. If they had eaten out twice a year before, at the behest of Keru, who thought that an American family should, they would never do so again. They would never order takeout again either, and unless it was to see dying relatives or their own parents' graves, should China's borders ever fully reopen, they would never again board a plane. Keru's parents lived in central Minnesota, where Keru went to high school but did not consider home. To avoid spending a night in a motel, her parents drove to Chatham in shifts, stopping only at state-run rest stops, eating ramen noodles cooked in the car. They were visiting first, else they wouldn't have. They would have refused to stay in a cottage, in a bed slept in by some other couple, even if it was a couple they knew. On their last night alone, Nate walked down the street to the local wine shop and bought a bottle of red for dinner. He would give Keru the option to get hammered, because once her parents arrived, she could not drink lest she risk their calling her an alcoholic. When he returned from the store, the whole place smelled, as expected, like bleach. Keru was in the bathroom scrubbing the grout and picking black specks off the ground. Then she was in the kitchen wiping water stains off the appliances. The dishes and utensils, which were already clean from the night before, she loaded into the dishwasher again and blasted them on high heat. "Don't say we used the dishwasher," she said. Nate had made that mistake before, in the first year of their marriage, letting it slip to his father-in-law, as a joke, that he and Keru ran the dishwasher nightly, or sometimes just for fun. "You're welcome to use that machine, Nate," his father-in-law had said formally, as if they were in court. "But Keru should not. To use a dishwasher is to admit defeat. No one is so busy that they can't take 10 minutes out of their day to clean up their own mess. While you may not be industrious enough to use a sponge and detergent, Keru is, and you must encourage her to continue doing so." This comment put Nate in a strange place. On one hand, his father-in-law had openly and casually called him inept. On the other, he also seemed to endorse Nate treating Keru like the help. Nate laughed nervously as his father-in-law watched. He learned that day that he and his father-in-law would not be friends, as he was with the dads of his previous girlfriends. He would not be drinking beer outside with him while grilling steak or fly fishing or losing at cornhole. They would not be playing backgammon together or ribbing each other about useless trivia, and besides the well-being of Keru, they would share no common interests. Nate asked Keru what she wanted to eat for dinner before her parents arrived with coolers of homemade food, and there would be no choice. Keru said she wasn't hungry, and the reason she wasn't hungry was that there was still so much to do.